For 6 months, a 185-pound Mastiff would not stop licking the same spot on this woman's face. Everyone who saw it laughed and called it his funny little obsession. Her friends teased her about it. Even she thought it was just the goofy giant being affectionate. But that dog was not being affectionate. That dog was trying to tell her something. Something no doctor had caught. No test had found, something that could have killed her. And by the time anyone finally understood what the big gray dog nobody had wanted was really doing, he had already saved her life. This is the story of how the most unwanted dog at the shelter became the reason a woman is still here today. Carol Whitfield was 52 years old and lived alone in a quiet house in Rochester, New York. Her kids were grown and scattered across the country. Her marriage had ended years before, and after a lifetime of a house full of noise, the silence had settled over everything. She was not unhappy exactly, she was just alone in the particular way you become alone in your 50s when the people you spent your life caring for no longer need you. She had a part-time job at a library, a garden, and a lot of very quiet evenings. She was not looking for a dog, least of all a giant one, but she volunteered one Saturday a month at the county shelter, and there was one dog there that had been passed over so many times the staff had nearly given up, a 185-pound gray Mastiff with a wrinkled, droopy, worried face, surrendered by a family who said he was too big and too much dog for their small house. He was 3 years old and had been at the shelter for almost 8 months. Nobody wanted a dog that size. Carol told herself she was just going to sit with him for a while so he would not be so alone. She ended up filling out the paperwork before she left. She named him Louie, and everyone she knew told her she had lost her mind. Her daughter said a 185-pound dog would flatten her. Her sister said a woman her age living alone had no business with an animal that size. A neighbor asked, only half joking, if she had adopted a small horse. 27 people, if you counted them all, told Carol that Louie was more dog than she could handle. But here is what none of them understood. That enormous, unwanted, drooling dog was about to do something for Carol that no person in her life ever could. Because Louie changed everything. The silent house was suddenly full of the sounds of a giant dog, snoring, groaning, thumping his tail against the walls. Louie followed Carol from room to room. He leaned his entire 185-pound weight against her legs while she cooked. He was, despite his fearsome size, the single gentlest and most devoted creature she had ever known. And for the first time in years, Carol was not alone in that house. She had a shadow, a companion, a best friend who happened to weigh as much as she did. She started talking to him the way you talk to a person and looking forward to coming home. The evenings that had stretched out so long and empty were suddenly filled with a giant gray dog who wanted nothing except to be near her, and Carol stopped feeling like the loneliest woman in Rochester. And Louie had one habit from the very first week that became the running joke of Carol's whole life. He licked her face. Not all over, the way dogs do. Louie licked one specific spot, over and over, on the left side of her jaw, just below her ear. Every time Carol sat on the couch, Louie would climb up beside her, rest his massive head against her, and gently, insistently lick that one exact spot. I know you are still watching but have not subscribed yet, and after a dog like Louie, that stings a little. Tap subscribe. Nobody wanted this one, and subscribing is how the world finds out what he really was. At first, Carol thought nothing of it. It was sweet. It tickled. She would laugh and push his big head away, and he would wait a minute and go right back to the same spot. Her friends thought it was hilarious. Louie's got his favorite spot, they would say. It became a whole thing, the giant Mastiff and his strange little fixation on one corner of Carol's jaw. She joked that he was marking his territory. Months went by, and Louie never once licked anywhere else, always that same spot, below her left ear, with a focus that was almost strange if you stop to think about it. But nobody did, because it was just Louie being Louie. Except Louie was not being silly. Over those months, his licking of that spot slowly changed. It became more insistent. Louie started nudging it with his nose, whining low in his throat. And there were nights he would not settle, would not lie down until he had spent long minutes working at that one patch of skin below her ear. Looking back, Carol would realize the change had been deliberate, a dog slowly turning up the volume on a warning no one was hearing. What had started as a gentle habit had become something that looked almost like desperation. A less stubborn dog would have given up months earlier. Louie did not have a quitting bone in his enormous body. Carol started to find it a little unnerving, and one evening, half out of curiosity and half because the dog would not leave it alone, she stood in front of the bathroom mirror, tilted her head, and really looked at the spot Louie had been so obsessed with for half a year. And there, just below her left ear, was a small mole she had never paid any attention to. It looked like nothing, a little darker than it used to be maybe, a little more irregular around the edges. Nothing that would have ever made her go to a doctor. Nothing except that a 185-pound dog had been trying to point at it every single day for 6 months. The same dog the whole shelter had given up on, the same dog 27 people had said was too much for her, the same 185-pound Mastiff that nobody had wanted had been telling her, in the only way he knew how, that something on her face was very wrong. Something in the back of Carol's mind finally listened. She made an appointment with her doctor, feeling foolish, and pointed to the little mole below her ear and explained that her dog would not stop licking it. Her doctor did not laugh. Her doctor took one careful look, went quiet, and said the word biopsy. The results came back a week later. The small, unremarkable mole below Carol's left ear was a melanoma, a serious skin cancer, exactly the kind that, left untreated, spreads and turns deadly with terrifying speed. But it had been caught early enough, because a dog had been pointing at it for 6 months. The doctors removed it completely, and because it had been found so early, Carol's outlook was excellent. She would be fine. She sat in her car in the parking lot after that appointment and cried. Not out of fear, but out of a stunned, overwhelming gratitude, because she finally understood what her ridiculous, unwanted, giant gray dog had been doing all along.
Dogs, it turns out, can smell cancer. Their noses can detect the chemical signature of a tumor long before any machine or doctor could. And there are documented cases all over the world of dogs doing exactly what Louie did, fixating on a spot, refusing to leave it, trying to warn the person they love. Louie had smelled it from the very first week. He had known in his own way before anyone. And he had spent 6 patient months trying to tell her until she finally listened. And Carol knew, sitting in that parking lot, with a certainty she will carry for the rest of her life, that if she had listened to those 27 people, there would have been no one to point at the thing quietly trying to kill her, and she would not have found it until it was far too late. Instead, she had Louie. Word spread through her family and her town the way news like that always does. Her daughter, who had said the dog would flatten her, drove up and got on the floor and wrapped her arms around 185 pounds of Mastiff and sobbed into his fur, thanking him for her mother's life. People who heard the story could hardly believe it. A dog catching what a lifetime of checkups never had. Carol found herself telling it again and again because she wanted people to know one thing: listen to your dog. The neighbor who had called him a small horse never made that joke again. The friends who had teased her for years about the dog's funny little habit went quiet too when they understood the joke they had all laughed at was a 185-pound dog quietly saving a life, one lick at a time, while the rest of them missed it. Today, Louie is older and grayer and more devoted than ever, and Carol is healthy, cancer-free, and never once alone. And that dog, the most unwanted animal in that shelter, still climbs onto the couch every evening and licks that same spot below her ear, healed now, checking it the way he has since the very first day. And Carol lets him, every single time, for as long as he wants. And the 27 people who swore he was too much dog have all gone very quiet, because here's the simple truth every one of them missed. A dog does not have to be small or easy or the kind everyone wants to be the most important thing that ever happened to you. What makes a dog is who he decides to love and exactly what he is willing to do to keep them safe, even when he cannot say a single word. Louie decided from his first week in that house that a lonely woman was his, And when he smelled the thing that was going to take her, he spent 6 months refusing to give up until she finally understood. If you are thinking about adopting a dog, especially the big ones, especially the ones who have been waiting the longest because everyone thinks they are too much, please do not listen to the fear. Go and meet him. And if your dog ever fixates on something over and over in a way that does not make sense, do not laugh it off. They know things we cannot. They are trying to tell us. Because Carol didn't really rescue Louie from that shelter. If you ask her, she will tell you without a moment of doubt that the dog nobody wanted rescued her, first from a silent and lonely house, and then from something that would have ended her life. So let me ask you honestly, would you have taken home a 185-pound Mastiff that 27 people swore was too much? Or would you have listened to them and let him go? Tell me in the comments. And if a dog ever knew something was wrong with you before you did, say their name below, so the next person hesitating knows what these dogs are really worth.